So today we are talking about solar. As many of you guys know that this year we are part of KWE as an affiliate as a solar consultant. Late last year we started a new business, NestMade Solar, and it is really it's an opportunity that we saw in the market, right? A lot of things are really pointing towards solar, green energy, and that's why we have started learning, getting ourselves deep into this subject. And now I feel like it's a really good time for you guys to learn as real estate agents. In fact, you guys have a new disclosure that is called Solar Advisory Disclosure as part of your RPA. So is it important to learn what solar is?
Yes.
All right, great. So as you guys know, I've been a mortgage broker for 10 years, over 10 years, and we've helped thousands of people buying, refinancing. Such a privilege, and getting into this industry, in the solar industry, we are hoping to continue to help homeowners, help our real estate agent partners to create opportunities and grow wealth together. So without further ado, I really want to go over, this is just one part of a 3-part series. So today we're going to talk about Solar 101. What is solar? How do you generate electricity using the panels, right? How do you sell the energy? How does, what if I have a roof that's not as sturdy as it should be? Like, what do you do? And the second part is talking about the disclosure itself, because it's so important. There are 18 questions on it, right? When you have 18 questions and you have to talk to your buyers or seller about this disclosure, what do? If you don't know the subject, you got to learn about it. So this is a spot for you to really dive deep. You can ask me questions and we can talk about the disclosure. And part 3 is how to leverage solar as a tool to generate more buyers and sellers. Now this is really important. I'm saying that it's because now you can use that knowledge, you can post it on social media, you can talk about it so more people know about solar, and then they'll ask you questions about it when they're buying a property. Hey Caleb, I found a house, has a solar panel, like, what do I need to know about it? Or someone's talking to a seller, someone's selling a house, they have solar, what questions do you need to ask your seller about when you're selling their house? All right, part 1, Solar 101, diving into it. Do you know where your sources of energy come from? Do you know where?
Sun.
That's solar, right? That's one part of it. But
Nuclear.
there's nuclear power. Who said that?
There's water, air.
Water, hydro station, yeah.
Hello there.
Oh, hello.
Windmill.
Windmill, so from the wind, right? And then there is fossil fuel, things that we're digging deep into the ground and get all that energy source from the ground. And it's just millions of years of bones decaying, fossil, right? That turn into fuel, and there's a finite amount of it. But when we're talking about the sun, the wind, right? The water flowing from the mountains, that's unlimited. You can just keep harnessing that. So in fact, next slide tells you that 35% comes from petroleum and really only 12% comes from renewable energy. Who's seen their natural gas bill going up the last couple of months? Who has noticed that?
Every single one of us, I think. Yeah.
If you haven't noticed it, go back and look into it. I compared last year and this year's natural gas, what do you call it, my bill, it has more than double. I'm using the same amount actually I'm using less now, and I'm still paying more. And really only 12% comes from renewable, and part of that 12%, only 11% of that 12% comes from solar. So there's a huge room for it to grow. And someone mentioned nuclear power. Did you know I used to work at a nuclear power plant? Did you know there used to be a nuclear power plant in between Orange County and San Diego? And did you know that plant shut down in 2013? So think about all the megawatts of power that was coming from that nuclear power plant needs to be replaced by something else. All right, hopefully. The two big round domes. Yeah.
Oh, by the coast.
By the coast, yeah. So I used to work outside of it and inside of it, the domes. You gotta suit up and all that. All right. Cool. Now, going back to the domes, right? That's a nuclear power generation. They generate power by, there's a long history on how they generate power, but the power gets generated and it gets transmitted from the power station to your home. So there's transmission lines, there's delivery charges that Edison charge you, that is all on your bill. So next time when you go home, open up that electric bill and read through it. You're gonna see that there is going to be transmission costs, distribution costs, nuclear decommissioning costs on your power bill. So you're paying for all of that, and the generation cost is really just a fraction of it. So it costs a lot of money to deliver power to your house. Without going into what solar power is, like how it works. Solar energy, the way it is working is the power gets converted into thermal or electrical energy, going into the panels, and which is one of the cleanest way that you can get power from. Every day the sun goes up, pretty much a guarantee, right? Wake up, if you're alive, you can see the sun going up and then goes down at 6 o'clock. And yeah, at night there's no power. And going back to the domes, going back to these power lines, when you're generating power, you either use it or you lose it. It doesn't get stored unless it's a battery. So it's not like I can have some magical power to use that sun power at night, so you actually have to store it. So now let's go into pros and cons of solar energy. There are a lot of misconceptions. So the misconception is always hear like, oh my God, it's gonna cost a lot of money. Yes, solar panels cost a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to build a power generation system, right? And then, and I have mentioned that at night you're not going to generate power. We all know that. When it's raining, you probably generate a little bit less than what you should be generating when the sun is up. It requires space. So either you put it on the roof or you put it on the ground, and somehow it's gonna connect to your breaker. So if you put it on the ground, you're gonna trench, and then eventually it goes to your house. If your roof is not big enough, then you're probably not gonna have enough panels. So that's a downside, right? And also, when you move, you're not gonna take your panels with you. But the benefits of solar, it's incredible, right? The tax credit. Do you know what is the tax credit today for solar? 25%. It got 25%. Anybody have another guess? 18. 18% tax credit, okay, anyone?
35.
Price is right, let's go.
35.
Where are my gift cards? Okay. So the correct. How did 40%, guys? It's not right. It's not. It's 30. So in about August, the Congress passed a new act called the Inflation Reduction Act. So through this Inflation Reduction Act, the solar tax credit went from 26% to 30%, and it got extended for 10 years. So from now until 2032, you'll get 30% tax credit. You can reduce your power bill if you go solar, and we'll go deep into talking about how that works. Zillow says, this is 2018, Zillow says that when you get solar, your house it appreciates about 4% in value. And that's 2018. There's a new law that came out, not new tariff, new solar tariff that came out, and it's going to go into effect in April. I'm going to dive deeper. And because of that, I think if people who already have solar or they're getting solar in the next month or so, their house value will go up for sure because you're grandfathered in for 20 years with NEM 2.0. I'm going to go deeper. And benefit of going solar is creating a legacy for our kids, right? Our children, who have children. You want your children to have cleaner air later, right, for the next generation. So I personally believe that, you know, I live in Azusa. I live inside the mountains, really just because of cleaner air. And return on investment. So you're helping the environment, you're saving money, and you're getting a return on investment. And last but not least, who here thinks you have to have maintenance on solar? Like, what are the maintenance on solar panels? Dust, right?
Are we being shy? Can we speak up? Oh.
Sometimes the inverter goes out, but we can have warranty cover that. You know, people come out and replace that, but like, there's really no maintenance. You don't need to change any engine oil. Right?
I think we rely on God and weather to clean and maintain.
We rely on the rain to clean it.
Yeah. The wind to blow off the dust.
Yeah.
So you think it's a good idea that they're doing the California switching over from the gas to electric in the cars?
We'll get to that. Right. Gas is.
Well, I mean, they're
If you
going
go-
solar cleaner, right? So you think it's a good idea, right, that they're switching over? They're just going all electric, right?
Going back to the previous slide, natural gas is really not natural, right? Where is the natural gas coming from?
Earth.
Like in the ground, right? So we're harnessing something that's finite. Did you know we're running out of helium? You know Party City? Who knows about Party City? They're going out of business. They're going out of business. Some say because we're running out of helium gas and people go to Party City because of their balloons. I believe it.
Petroleum, 35%, right?
Yeah, petroleum. So, California stopped giving out gas station permits. And we're going to start phasing out gas stations.
It's just pollution in general, too, right?
And by 2035, we're going all electric cars. So it is coming. Like that electricity usage, that's coming. It's whether you're generating the electricity by nuclear power, coal, right, or renewable energy.
That's why the solar is so big right now, because it's going to, reduce costs.
It's going to
your
reduce
fuel,
costs.
Reduce fuel and costs, and then you don't need it's cleaner. You could charge from your home.
So when natural gas is being phased out, petroleum is being phased out, what is power going to do? Coal power is going to go up, right? The cost is going to go up. So think about in 10 years, if you have solar panel on the roof and power is at maybe even double where it is at today, and now you're getting free energy and you're trying to sell that house, that buyer is going to go into that house not having to pay any electricity bills.
It's just the buildup on the cost to put the solar. There's a lot of people say that that's why they're not doing it.
The cost, yeah, and
The cost to install the solar.
the cost to install solar, and at the very end, we're going to talk about that. And that's why the government is doing so much to incentivize people to get it today. And we're going to dive into why real estate agents need to know about buying and selling homes with solar. After all that talk, who here agrees that solar is going to be the topic of the decade?
Decade.
I think renewable energy in general. but
Yeah, renewable energy in general.
100%.
So how important is it to become a solar savvy professional?
Yeah.
Thank you. Very important. Very important. Look at it. Look at this graph right here. Look at this graph right here.
Was that rehearsed?
This is before, so the blue, the darker blue, this is a projection of how much solar energy is going to be generated, right, in the future, in the near future. And because of this tax credit, due to this tax credit, it's going to go up. And it's going to continue to rise, right? It's not just that.
Benson, do you mind if I say something really quick? Guys, again, Benson's here obviously to put forth the best version of himself and pour into you guys and bring some education, but it's super important for you guys to be writing down certain things because you want to be able to translate all of this to who? Your clients, your prospects, your friends, right? Today is not just about you learning about solar, but it's really like, hey, I might not need to know so much because I could always lean on Benson and his team. But what I do need to know is I need to generate immediate content to share with my clients. I need to generate immediate curiosity, immediate motivation, and send that to my social media, send that to my friends and family, and let them know like, hey, I am super, super knowledgeable. Work with me. Work with me. I'm here to bring you value. So you guys should be taking notes, not necessarily on all things solar, but what is it that I could do today, right now, from this session? What are the 3 to 5 things I could take away that I can rip off and duplicate directly from Benson so I can go ahead and share with my circle and drive communication, right? Drive conversations. So just wanted to throw that in there.
And we're always open to share information with you guys.
Going back to maintenance, how often do you guys recommend like cleaning with the solar panels?
As often as the wind blows.
Leave it to God and weather. I just
Really?
said
So
that.
it just no maintenance at all? 'Cause
Yeah, that's the whole point, right? We're the sunny state, but I mean, we're the other states.
They have rain, they have
Yeah,
snow,
yeah.
right?
I think it's variable, obviously, depending on where you live. But I think being in Southern California, most of the neighborhoods that we farm and or live in,
It's important.
yeah, there's no real maintenance.
There's no real maintenance.
Well, Roy, when you have the app, right, like when you see what you're generating and then you see a decline at that point, okay, something's wrong, and then
Then you're
Yeah.
so
Yes. You're gonna get an app and they'll tell you your generation. Okay, so in some cities, how many clients of yours or you know someone who's trying to build an ADU, who talked about building an ADU, who as a seller has built an ADU, right?
Yep.
And moving forward, people with SBA, SB9, people are going to want to build more ADUs, right? And some cities now have mandatory requirements that you add solar panels on the rooftop when you're building an ADU. So how important is it to know? When your client is buying a house, they're talking about building an ADU in the back, something you might want to bring up is you might need solar. You should probably check with the city.
Or let me assist you with that.
Or let me assist, right? New buildings. We went to go visit a new construction 5-unit out in Baldwin Park, right? Now they're all requiring it to be solar ready. So some cities need the new construction to be solar ready, meaning having the conduit, everything hooked up, ready to go. When the client moves in, they can get solar, all that. And then some cities are requiring new buildings to have solar panels on it.
Benson, do you have those resources or websites available we can share?
Yeah.
Okay, can we make sure we do that?
Okay.
Right, because I don't see it on this slide.
No.
Okay.
It's on purpose.
On purpose?
High level.
Oh,
Yeah. Create conversation so you can ask me.
you want to make sure the agents reach back out around you. I get it.
That's right.
You're so clever.
Don't tell them.
Trust
So-
the process.
So obviously there's some mandate exceptions, like if you are rebuilding because your house got burned down, shaded areas and other structures in the way. We worked on a house that's in Beverly Hills and it has all these trees around the house, and he's probably not a good solar candidate. right? Not everyone needs to go solar. That's what I'm saying. So how is solar energy produced? This, my friend, is our solar panels, right? This is the sun. So the sun shines on the solar panels, creates energy, and it goes into an inverter. The inverter then turns it either into battery stored energy for you to use later, or it gets sold to the power company. At no point I just mentioned your house. Like, it doesn't go into your lights, it doesn't go into your microwave, so you're not using any of that energy at this moment. When you turn on the light, either you're using power from the grid or you're using power from the battery. Now, there are smart batteries out there that at 6 o'clock, when the sun is not shining, you can actually turn the dial and say from 6 to 9, I'm only using power from my battery. From 9 to 12, when my kids are going to sleep, I'm just watching TV and have very low usage, and you probably have very low power, what do you call it, time of use, right? And that's low demand time, then you can use the power from the grid. High demand, use battery. Low demand, use the grid.
Wouldn't you think that they would just compensate and just have the grid? Why should we buy solar? Why don't they just create the solar for themselves and just charge us less?
One more time, your question?
Rather than normally how we get the electricity from the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, why don't they just do the solar panels for the grid? What they've been doing, so we don't have to buy the solar panels.
So you're saying how come Edison doesn't just invest in...
Yeah, why don't they just get the solar panels themselves rather than we have to pay for the
Oh, you are already getting your solar panels. When you're generating that electricity, you're here, not at home, right? You're here in the class. You're generating power. That power is getting sold back to Edison, and they're actually selling that
That's the way
power
they're doing it now.
to someone
That's
else.
what they're doing it now, but I mean, why don't they just replace all their generators and go solar, right? Or they can.
Oh, I think that would be too many panels.
Too much, huh?
Yeah, and like I don't think we have enough land to do it.
And I don't think Edison has an interest in that at all.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have to buy land, it costs a lot of money to do
Yeah.
They do it though now, right?
I know
There's some solar farms, but it's not nearly enough.
Las Vegas has one. If you're on
Oh.
feed them.
Yeah.
It's enough to power some.
I know, but like,
Yeah, wear
why-
sunglasses.
And that's how it is, right? Right now, when you're using, oh, actually, I'm gonna thank you for the segue. So this brings me into net metering. So what net metering does is when you're generating that power, you're selling that power to Edison. You're getting a credit, right? Whatever that credit is. You use at night when you're hooked onto the grid. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange, nearly 1-for-1 exchange. So as long as you generate enough power and you use the amount is less than how much you generate, then you shouldn't really have to pay any delivery charges and all that. Right?
Okay, I'll say that. All the homes that I go into, they have solar. They always have the AC running.
Always have
They
AC.
always talk how good it is.
Yeah.
It's
It's great. So you really don't have to pay Edison again. Well, unless you really use it, right? Or your roof is just really small and you don't have enough panels. So it is a bi-directional. So you sell it, we call it export, and then you import it, right? When you export, you sell it to them at retail price. And you buy it at retail price. How cool is that? But wait, why not store that energy? You can also store that energy, right? And then from 4 to 9, during TOU, time of use, now you can also use that power. They want you to have batteries. Right now, you're not required to have batteries to get benefits. You already get the benefits. But when you get batteries, one that helps you, like let's say, you have a medical equipment at home. You don't want it to run out of juice, right? You want to keep it on. You probably want to have a battery at home. It switches. It's like a generator. This is something that you need to know. This is the newest net energy metering 3.0. Currently we're at 2.0. Remember when I said you export and you import, it's a 1-to-1 ratio? Well, that's going away. That's going away in April. And the only way to get grandfathered in for the next 20 years is if you get solar today, get your interconnection agreement signed before April 2023. April 13, 2023.
So if we get it before April 2023, we get 1-to-1 ratio.
You get the 1-to-1 ratio, you get net metering 2.0. That net metering 2.0 can be transferred to the next buyer.
What about after? What do they get?
Now you get 3.0. Now when you export, you're selling it at wholesale rate.
So what's the ratio then after 2023?
You lose 75% of the benefits by selling that. Again, they want you to get battery. Okay, so think about it. 6 p.m. Let's say the sun goes away at 6 p.m., right? Every day. Clockwork. Just in this, play with me. 6 p.m. All the panels stop working. No more sun. Panels are not working. No power is going to the grid. No power is going to another home, right? Everyone is using fossil fuel at that point. So Edison is like, that's too much load. Going from none to everyone going on their grid using their power. So they want to change that. They want you to have batteries at home. So instead of switching at 6 p.m. going into the grid, you go to your battery and you use the power from battery. That's what they want you to do. However, battery technology is great today. It's really, really great. It's just not as cheap as we want it to be. So it's an added cost.
Isn't that going to create job loss for the electrical?
It's going to create some in California, right? In a lot of other states, in I think 48 other states, they already are on net billing or.
It's going to create another type of niche for the batteries. It's going to create.
It's going to create niche for batteries.
Jobs in that area, but then Edison's going to lose a lot of money then.
Edison will not lose money. No.
There's going to be something. Always going to be some kind of use.
No.
Not everybody's going to go solar, right? That's
Oh, if they, you know why they won't lose money? They're going to raise your rates. Who used to work for Edison? You did. Me too.
Actually, subconsultant.
Okay.
They're
They,
still going to charge you a premium. Even if they make energy like renewable sources, they're still going to charge you a premium.
yeah, renewable energy generation. There's a
the
lot.
credit team back, right? They're giving credit. Probably
For now.
Probably going to come to an end.
Yeah.
They're already cutting back. Right? They're already doing this. Them
Yeah, they're going then 3.0.
and 3.0.
I have a hypothetical question. Hypothetically, if every home in America, let's say, and then in 50 years after every home has solar has been paid off, would it be possible that our energy bill would be nearly zero? If every home has solar and it's been paid off already, would it be possible that our energy bill would be
Zero.
It would be zero. Would it
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom's house, she doesn't pay for electricity anymore. She has enough roof space.
I feel like it depends on like electric vehicles and like how many people switch to, because I think people are exploring like as a nation, like I don't know if we have enough power generation right now to renewable energies to
Right, but in theory,
because you're gathering so much energy, you're banking it, but then you're like
I
cycling
think
it
we
through
need
the
more
world.
like solar farms like going out to Vegas.
Yeah.
Or,
So
like,
I think eventually in 50 years, 2050, very, very possible, right? 2045, right? That's what California wants to be, net
Just
zero.
California, the other parts, yeah, Edison's going to be making money.
And it's going to be different in each state. We're in the sunniest state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just us.
in the colder states here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Eastern Benson part of this.
Talking about batteries, do you know how much before, because you guys work with a specific vendor for solar panels, right? Do you know how much the batteries are costing now?
So batteries cost between $12,000 to $14,000 for your first battery, and it's about $7,000 to $8,000 for the second one.
And you know the capacity for it?
The capacity, I think I'll just tell you, you probably need about 2 batteries for each house.
But you know how much like the capacity
I think it's 10 to 11 kilowatts. So again, NEM 3.0 is going to make battery essential, right? If you're going to get solar panels after April and you're not getting the batteries, you're selling that power at 8 cents, not 32 cents when you're buying it. So they want you to use that energy before you buy it. Hopefully your batteries are big enough to last till 9, 10 o'clock, and then you're using the cheap energy later.
Sorry, what was how much you said?
About 8 cents. So there's a chart on how much you get per hour. There's a chart out there. I can
8
say
cents is for how much you sell it back to us.
how much your export rate is. All right. So great question earlier. If you have solar panels, right, you generate a lot of power, and at the end of the year, they have a accounting system. They add up all the months that you generate more than how much you use, and then there are months that you use more than how much you generate. Like summer months, you probably use a lot of power, but you also generate a lot, maybe not enough to cover. But winter months, you probably generate more than enough than your house. Then that gets all added up, and at the end of the year, you get a true-up bill. Okay, that true-up bill is going to tell you how much you owe Edison or your power company for the SDG&E and PG&E. My NorCal friends love PG&E. Just kidding. So it accumulates all the credits and fees that you have to pay and give you costs. Some of our friends bought a new house. Who knows someone who bought a new house in the last couple of years? They probably come with solar panels.
Do they have the solar panel insurance and stuff like that now too? How is it hazardous on top of your roof? Is it hazardous? Is there any fires or anything like that?
Yeah, I'll tell you more about that. But those panels that people bought a couple of years, the panels that came with their house a couple of years ago, they probably had like 4 to 8 panels because that's what builder put on the house. They probably have a true-up bill, right? A house that's about 16 to 2,000 square foot, they might be paying 150 to 200 bucks. They'll probably need about 12 to 16 panels. So if you only have 4 to 8, it really depends on how many watts. But if you only have 4 to 8, you probably have a bill.
It's maintenance, yeah, it's maintenance, right?
Yeah. You probably have your bill. Okay. How long do solar panels last? We really don't know. I've had people telling me they have their solar panels for 40 years and they're still working. Okay. And before I get into it, you got to understand how solar panels are made. They're just sand and glass. They're just sand and glass, and these panels that made up these cells, they put the cells together and put a frame around it, and that's how you absorb the energy and get it into the inverter. So how long does sand and glass last? A long time, right?
Are they tempered glass? What kind of glass?
They have, so they're getting more and more advanced with the technology. I've seen glasses that they put, I don't know, 50 pound on it and it's still not going to break, right? It really depends on the technology per panel. But yeah, tempered glass or like the really thin film, that's very resistible.
Yeah, because we have Santa Ana wind, so you have like massive wind, it's not good.
Yeah, the whole point is low maintenance, right? So that's all included in the warranties. Right? If an installer go up to your roof, install a bunch of panels, and then now it starts breaking, we're going to come out and repair and replace those panels.
Yeah. Would it have more solar power if it's a flat roof or
or, slope roof?
Flat roof, slope roof, yes. In fact, flat roof is a little bit more expensive than the slope roof because they need to tilt it up. They want it to face a certain way, right?
Yeah. To
When
the
the
south, I've heard.
You
Has
want
more-
it, so the south gets the most sun, but if you're tilting it, I'm pretty sure you want it to be either south or like where the sun goes up.
You want sunrise.
Because you want to capture the most of that sun when
But
it's
what
going.
if someone has like really, really high, roof pitch?
So
Would that
steep
work?
roof, yeah, steep roof is also an issue, right? You don't get the other side of the sun when, if your house is east-west. So you don't get the other side of the sun as the sun goes around the house. But it's all included in the design. So when we create a design, we have AI softwares that can come up with the design and they'll tell me how steep the roof is, and then they're going to calculate what the sun score or how much it's going to generate, and they'll tell you how much it's going to generate and how much you're using. These panels, we say they last about 25 to 30 years because our warranty is also about 25 years.
I heard they're really picky about the roof too. Particular type of roof. They want you have to maybe get a new roof with the panel.
So shingles are probably the best roof, but there's tile roof, right? Concrete tile roof. A lot of us, well, I lived in a house with tile roof, and what they do is they cut it out and make a picture frame. That's how you put the roof, the
They
panel.
replace that roof where the
And then
panels
they'll do it really nicely. So they cut it out, put it in, make sure it's not leaking, and then they cut the tile to put it back around that base. All right. So speaking of roof condition, right? So yes,
Is there a specific company you guys work with, or different ones?
great question. We're gonna get to that. So roof conditions. Roof conditions, your electric panels, what else? I don't know, like maybe other things that I need to consider. But basically what we're gonna do is once I finish the design, you're gonna sign a contract and I'm gonna send out a site inspector. That site inspector is on our dime. They're gonna go out for about an hour or two. They're gonna walk over the roof and see what's on the roof, if it's good enough for solar. We're gonna check the panels to make sure the panels are good for how many panels we're gonna put on. You might need a sub-panel upgrade, you might need a main panel upgrade. So it really depends on what you have existing.
So you don't have to replace the whole roof. You just got to replace where the panels are going. Right?
So yeah, exactly. So where the panels are going, they're gonna make sure that that roof is good. If it's not, then there might be a partial roof repair.
Or you have to get a special kind of roof that's going to be for the panel, right?
I think it's just-
panel, you get like a solar roof too, right? They have solar roofs now too.
Yeah, that's the newest technology that we're not going to get really into that. Because that's probably for the really high end, like I can
Or
splurge
they're
that
like
money.
really backed up too. To get
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
And we're trying to get to the 3.0, right?
Just regular solar.
So here's some of our partners. We work with Freedom Forever. Sunrun is in most Costco except for Azusa because Azusa has great power rates. Yeah, Azusa doesn't run on Edison. So Sunrun is in all Costco. They do leases. Their business is leases, and they used to install. Now they gave it to Freedom to install. So with Freedom, we can sell the system, we can lease the system. When you're buying the system, you need financing, so we go through Mosaic for financing. Vivint works with Freedom, so if you have a home buyer that's getting into a house, they need the smart home system. If they go solar, they can replace the roof. If the roof is bad, zero down, right? The panel upgrade, no money out of pocket, and they also get smart home system, all included as well. And then we also work with a big company. They've been around they're one of the only ones that have outlived their warranty, which is more than 25 years. So SunPower is one of the oldest companies that we work with. Did I answer your question, Roy?
So mainly Freedom Forever and Solar and SunPower.
Yep.
To
Freedom, Sunrun, and SunPower.
But with Sunrun, since it's a lease, you're not getting the tax credit. Is that correct?
With Sunrun, you're not getting tax credit. And in our third series, I'm going to talk about, so this is just one part of the part 1 of 3 series. So part 3, I'm going to talk about those ins and outs.
What about like like when you're talking to the buyer about you have solar on the roof, and then you have to certain questions to ask.
That's part 2.
Part 2.
So solar disclosures.
Well, you know about how you can buy it, right? What you put on the offer.
Yeah. So it can be the old seller could probably they could have leased it, could have purchased it with a loan and still paying, or free and clear. So it really depends on what kind of lien is on it, or even a PACE loan or HERO loan. All right, economics. So this is a monthly. Man, it's been a moment. So this is a smaller system. It's about a $31,000, 14 panels for 400 watt each. So it's a 5.6 kilowatt. So it's a smaller system. Power maybe a 2,000 square foot house, right? The client can actually either pay $31,000 in cash. They're going to get some tax incentive, right? The 30%. So after tax incentive is $21,000. And then this is their new monthly payment. They have the first 1,700, like, oh my God, like I need to put 30% down for the panels. No, not yet. You have 17 months to get your tax credit, your tax benefits, and you can apply to the loan. If you don't apply it, they'll just re-amortize $145 a month. So this is still much cheaper than how much you're paying Edison today. Okay? All right, so you've asked, I'm going to go over it real quick. So if the seller has solar panels on the roof, you guys sign an ownership transfer form, right? And then there might be some credit application to make sure the new buyer qualifies for the solar, with the solar company. And then the solar company is going to approve that buyer. Usually in today's market, if you are already getting a mortgage, you should qualify for solar. So once you get approved, the new lease or the loan gets transferred to the new homeowner, and the new homeowner starts paying for the solar panels either through a lease or a purchase. Okay, solar tax credit. The system needs to be installed from 2022 to 2032 to get 30% tax credit. Any leftover value will be carried over to next tax year. So the owner needs to be a taxpayer, and if you're using lease or PPA, power purchase agreement, you don't qualify for the 30%, and you cannot claim the federal tax. So people who don't really pay a lot of tax, they might want to go lease. Okay.
Question, is that a typo or this is really 10 years time frame?
10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So the tax credit got extended for 10 years. And some companies require you to install it on your primary or secondary home. We work with some companies that actually help you install in investment properties. And for investment properties, you can write off the panels through depreciation, through bonus depreciation and accelerated depreciation.
And still get the 30%.
And still get the 30%. But wait, there's more. No, I'm just kidding. All right. And when you're talking to a homeowner, right, like it's really just a bill replacement. Instead of paying Edison, you pay a flat rate payment. Edison power bills, what do they do every year?
Increase.
PG&E just announced their rate case, 22% in the next 3 years after 22% in 2022. So that's 40% increase. Well, after NEM 3.0 goes in and people don't really want to go solar anymore, what are they going to do? Now you're in a corner, right? They're going to increase your price. So think about that. All right, so lock in that low monthly payment, and really, guys, use me as your content creator. You guys are great content creator. You guys are posting on social media. If you need anything, we have my marketing team here. You can ask me, right? We can create some co-marketing flyers for your listing. If you have a buyer that you take around and then they're solar, you can use it. We can come up with some ideas and you can use it. Okay? And if you have any sellers that you've worked with in the past, now would be a good time to let them know about NEM 3.0 as a value add, right? You're a real estate agent. You help these clients sell their house, buy their house. Now it's a good time to call them up and say, hey, have you heard about this? Cool.
Do you know if they need HOA's approval to install solar?
Some do. Yeah, well, most do need HOA approval. One of our clients in NorCal, we waited for the HOA approval for a little while. Yeah. So, again, just to recap, NEM 3.0 takes effect in April 13, 2023. So getting it installed now to lock in NEM 2.0 for the next 20 years. NEM 3.0 does not benefit the client as much, and the ROI is going to decrease. NEM 2.0 people with the solar panels, they're going to be able to sell these panels for, well, not sell these panels, when they sell their house, the house value will be higher than people who don't have it, right? If you have two cookie cutter homes, are there cookie cutter homes here? Yeah, and then if they're side by side, one have solar panels, NEM 2.0, they're going to be able to sell that home at a higher price than no solar. Thank you so much, guys. This is a ton of information. Here's my information. Feel free to scan, save my business card. Thank you so much.